Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the show. I hope you are all doing fantastically well. Welcome, welcome. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the show. I hope you are all doing fantastically well. Welcome. Hello and welcome. Hey Megan, how are you doing? Can you hear me okay? We're not getting any delays, anything like that. Eric Simey is in the house. Hello, Eric. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're all well. So I'll wait for a couple more people to jump in and I'll do a little introduction of tonight's guest, who we all know as the wonderful Millennial Animal. Then we will have a listen to one of his songs. Hey Valerie, hiya. And then we'll get him on for a chit chat. So, how is it? Oh, bear with me 1 second. Okay, I have Millennial Animal in the green room. So, I am just going to let you know a bit about him, and then we'll get him on. We're going to listen to a song first as well. So he's been a huge part of this community. He's an absolutely fantastic songwriter and an absolute legend. He's collaborated with Mr. Smith and he writes some of the best melodic hooks I've heard. So before I bring him on, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy one of his fine songs. We're just going to bring that up. I had it already. Everything was working fine. Hopefully everything will be working fine. So here we go. Gender and Loathing, mixed by Eric Simey, written by Millennial Animal.
She want a black mirror with some alcohol, filling out the middle like an animal. Between her thighs, where the lines lie between gender and loathing, that's love. Play your role. Gender and
seen flats that are just,
We're also
So
continuing
prepare to be
play-
impressed.
Quiet, you. Can you hear me okay, Sean?
Yeah, I was listening to the stream, and the stream's like.
Oh,
a
that's
little
all
bit
cool.
lagging.
That's all cool.
Am I coming through, sound? Yeah.
You are coming through. You're quite quiet, but I don't know if that's just because I've got your mic down low. So let me just bump that up. How's that?
Check.
You could go up a little touch.
Right. That's as loud as I can get. One
Okay.
sec. What I can do. I can run it through me preamp, but I'll be like 2 minutes setting that up. That's the only problem.
All right, we can play another song while you're doing that and do that.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
good. That's because my songs aren't that long.
Okay, I'll. You sent me that list, so I'll get a song up just now, and you can. I'll just put myself back on. I'll let Sean get that sorted, and we will have another listen to another cracking song from Millennial Animal. So we will listen to. Let's listen to his Gear Gods competition entry, Pet Names. I just want to make sure this is working and coming
By
through.
stylish apartments. Ooh.
Right, we'll just mute the advert just now. Once the advert is finished running, can people hear me? I think I might have muted myself there. We're just doing a couple of sound checks. Nothing is going to go to plan. Still trying to work this out. Really wish I had more than one screen. Because now I've... Yeah. Trying to get it all done. So... Let's go.
Tell you a story. If I tell you a story of the greatest lie I ever told, would you believe me when I say I'm 1,000 years old, but I'm not sure of the greatest kingdom no one ever saw, and it could all be yours. Tell you a story. If you can love me like the cheapest whore I ever
Oh, that was nice. I like the little watery sounds at the end. Very, very good. Hello, Mr. Smith. Hello, Chuckwagon. Hello. Who else has jumped in? Juicebox Desmond. How could I forget Juicebox Desmond? Thank you all for joining myself. Millennial is going to be with us in a few moments. He's just sorting out some audio things. So I thought I'd say to you why I am doing this tonight and not last night. Last night I was hanging out, and I'm very sorry to say this, people, but I was hanging out with real human beings in person, like face to face. I'd helped my friend move house, which was really hard work, and I've not done any proper hard work for a while, so I am in a lot of pain. And then we went to some friends for a nice dinner, had lovely food. I drank a little bit too much, and I'm a little bit hungover. So the show tonight is gonna be hangover chat, which is always fun. How is everybody else doing? What have you all been up to today? I know that for some of you, your day's just starting, so that's quite cool. He's just messaged me going, Gremlins! So hopefully, I'm not a real human being. My entire life is a lie. No, you're not. Real human beings are the ones that we actually can touch. Although I do get into trouble for touching real human beings. It's not popular. I'll just let you know as well. I've got my Arlo cam, so if Arlo does make an appearance, I've got the camera there, so everybody can say hi to him. And yeah, I'm in a lot of pain. The last time I helped somebody move, I was a lot fitter, a lot fitter. And hey Emily Forever, how you doing? It's good to see you. Got your song, so we'll be listening to that a little bit later. So the idea is tonight is to be a little bit more structured. Juicebox was very kind last week, and Joe were very kind last week as I realised it took me, Adam, hello, welcome. It took me 34 seconds to not even ask a question. When I was editing the highlights video and the interview, I realised that I am somebody who likes to use 15 words when one will do. So I've become a little bit more prepared this week. I've actually got more questions set out and ready. So hopefully for Millennial Animals' benefit, I will just ask the questions and then shut the fuck up. Because I do like the sound of my own voice. Oh, it's okay, Emily. I mean, you can, Hell, you can, there we go. Hell's back. Hello, Hell or Helena. Let's all congratulate Adam on hitting 1,000 subscribers. Congratulations, Adam. That's a fantastic milestone. Adam is always very kind in the comments. He always very kindly watches people's videos and leaves nice comments and encourages interaction. So well done, Adam. I sort of seen Adam through Anthony Couch's videos on his channel where he does the couch potato jams, which the 8th one is up now. So if you go to Anthony Couch's channel, you will be able to join in on that. He provides a backing track, and then basically improvise for a minute and then send it in, and he fills all that out. So, and he reacts to them, and it's a lot of fun. Myself and Suresh have been doing that for a little while, so that's quite cool. So Adam's been participating in that, and I know that he does a lot of the, I want to say the Swola jams. The Swola jams, I think, are like kind of more riff based rather than lead. Oh, you've updated the link. Oh, right. Okay, cool. That's fine. We'll get to the songs very shortly. I know that Camish at the bed as well. I'm getting messages off Sean to sort of saying he's letting us know what's happening. Oh, it's a show. Yes, it is a show. Daniel, welcome. So Daniel and Chris are going to be on the show. That's it. Sunday with Ola, the Swola Challenge. Thanks, Adam. Daniel is going to be on the show with Chris. I think it's the first weekend in February. It's around about the 4th of February because they have their second single release on the 10th of February. So I thought it'd be cool to get them on, chat to them about their process, how they found collaborating with each other, and obviously Daniel's improvement in his mixing, his songwriting, and his singing that we've all witnessed through Trey's stream and just through the Audio Brothers. So what I'm going to do just now, actually, I'm going to do a quick shout out to channels that you should all go and subscribe to. So Trey Xavier, for your songwriting feedback, he streams every Friday at 9:15 UK time. I think it's 1:15 Pacific time and 3 o'clock Eastern, if my maths is right. We've got the Audio Brothers podcast, which is Eric Saimi and Charles Wagner. They do fantastic mix tips, again, feedback on your songs. They will give you production things, and they also do song renovations. So song renovation is where you've got a song that you've maybe released or about to release. You've got a decent mix, it's sounding good, you're pretty much happy with it, but you want it just to go to that next level. Eric and Chuck will sort you out on that. They are absolutely amazing at what they do. I can't thank them enough. Can't thank them enough for what they did for my song. 4:14 Eastern. Thank you very much, Daniel, or for that. I should remember. Thanks, Juicebox. Yes, I really appreciate the mods for adding in the channel things. If you do want to submit anything, and it would be cool, I did pin the link to submit songs at the top of the comments, so you can. That's a pinned comment there. You can submit either through the Google. Cool, no problem. It gives me time to get all my rambles out. Gremlins. Gizmo. So that's the Audio Brothers podcast. Then you've got Bobby Everything. He's more hip hop based, but he accepts kind of any kind of style. He again gives you feedback. He's very positive. He's got a great community. And if you are looking for like networking opportunities or collaboration opportunities in any kind of genre of music, he's a very good one for that because he's very encouraging of sharing out that kind of collaboration. Obviously, we've got Pete Johns. He streams his song submissions, I think, on a Sunday night. Sunday night my time. And again, he will play part of your song. He'll leave links. Great community there. Mr. Smith is part of that community as well. Jade Star, great channel to check out. I've only really started watching her stuff recently. She did an absolutely amazing interview with Mr. Smith, which was really, really cool. We got to hear from Mr. Smith, and what a nice guy. I mean, really, like just a genuinely nice human being that wants to share, loves music, can clearly see that he loves music in his own songwriting, but also just in how much he wants to help everybody. And you've got Thomas Christ. So again, he will react to your songs and share them. So he's every Wednesday night he does that. And I think he's now started streaming Thomas Christ live. I think he did go live yesterday. So he does some live performances. And talking of live performers, Valerie Batt, of course, beautiful voice, beautiful songs. She performs on a Friday at 7 p.m. my time, so a couple of hours before Trey's. It's all right, don't worry, just folks. I'm gonna leave. I think in the description I've left all the channels that I'm talking about in the description. So I've just put all their YouTube names. So if you click on them, it should just take you directly to their channel. You can go and subscribe to them. We've got Thomas Christ, Valerie Batt, I know that there's the metal-haired hippie, and there's also conspiracy music that do reactions and things like that. So basically, all these communities of songwriters over the last little while have been slowly starting to merge into each other, which I'm loving. I think it's great because everybody's just really looking to share music, write music, get help, things like that. And I know it's always difficult getting a little bit of feedback on your songs because they're precious to you, and it always feels a little bit like people are maybe taking a dig or they don't like it. That is not the case. I think that getting feedback is one of the most important things, and being able to use that, you don't have to listen to it, but being able to use that, it just helps you kind of consider what the listener is hearing when you are writing. I certainly think that when I'm writing songs, I am writing them for myself, but I do also want to make like the people who are going to listen to it or want to listen to it, I want them to enjoy it. I want them to enjoy it as much as I enjoy writing it sometimes. So getting the feedback and getting the help, it's really essential, I think, to get any better. If you just like writing stuff and putting it out there, then that's also awesome. We don't want to stop you doing that. But all these communities, they all will do different things, and you will just get tips and you will get better from watching in general. Because with these communities, you can hear what other people are doing, and you can think to yourself, right, okay, I like that. I like what they've done there. I like that sound. Like, let's see if I can emulate that or bring that in. Just to say it's way too blue, not the say the only non-blue or not. Oh, not the only. Dan is not blue. Oh, but because you don't have a rich. Oh, I'm sorry, Hell. I do apologise. Is Mr. Smith been? I'm missing the chat here. I need to scroll back. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's cool, Daniel. We'll see how the submissions go. I mean, the interview is kind of the main part. Hopefully, we'll like as submissions go. That'll come in time. I've got a few, and we'll just listen to them, and then we'll sort of finish up. But we'll be doing the interview first, and I'm just I'm having a wee read of the chat. So, here we let's right. So we are going to bring on Millennial Animal. I've done a little widget for him, so let's show his widget that I made just before the stream. That's his little widget. So we will bring him on. Millennial Animal, how are you?
I'm very good. Hopefully this is better.
It is a little bit better. Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't worry about it. The main thing is that we can hear you, and we can have that chat, which is always awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Are you feeling better?
Still recovering from being a little sick, but you know, it'll get better.
I was hoping that you'd be okay because I didn't want you to. Oh, we might have Arlo Cam. Sorry, I'm just gonna see if I can bring up Arlo Cam. Oh no, he's gone. He's gone. I just seen the door opening behind me, and I thought, oh, that's the dog hero. We'll say hi to him. So we've listened to a couple of your songs. I've decided that I'm going to try and stick to just asking the questions rather than rambling on that I have done in the past, which I'm now doing. So I thought I'll start off with a really easy one and say, can you remember the first song that you wrote and completed, and what was it about?
Oh, Andrew, that's not easy. Nah, I'm only messing. So I think I remember the name of it, and I think I could probably even play maybe some of the chords. And it was called Older. And what's even sillier about it is I think I wrote it when I was 22, so I wasn't exactly older, you know. But
Sorry,
Yeah.
are you seeing the chat there? Apparently, you're just coming out the left speaker. I don't know if you can sum or mono it.
Tell me, chick, chick, chick. Left, right, left, right.
It's still coming out of just the left.
I
If
don't know
it
what is got.
if
Tell
that's
me
the
better.
case, it's fine. It's not a bother.
Ah, okay, then sounds. It's I don't know. I'm going through the same chain I did when we did the charity live stream. Like I don't know what's going on. So yeah.
Like these setups are just like everything seems to work fine, and then the minute you go live, everything just starts. Like I managed to get my iPad linked to my computer, and like have a screen share, and I thought, great, I can separate out a little bit, and that's just that
Didn't
shut the
happen.
bed just before I started. I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna
Yeah.
wing it. So sorry, you were saying about your first song that you wrote.
Yeah, and I don't think I recorded it, but yeah, it was called Older, and it was pretty much just a verse and a chorus, and it was nothing really good about it in the sense, well, compared to what I do now, but it was good enough to know like if I can do this, I can get better and I can keep doing. You know what I mean? It was like it was something where it was like if I can do something this good, and I'd only been like playing guitar and writing for about maybe a year after that at that point. So, it was a good place to start. I think it gave me a bit of confidence, even though I hadn't really done anything like that before, writing wise. Yeah.
And had you played in bands or anything before that, or was that your first sort of foray into the music?
It was a bit like on and off again. So basically, the year, the year between like primary school and high school, um, I just played footy. It was just like every lad from Liverpool, just play footy, didn't do much else. And then this lad moved to Liverpool called Niall Kelly, and he played guitar. He was a skateboarder, stuff like that. And then I got to know him. And then by the time we got into high school, he started a band, and he was like, "Do you want to play bass?" And I think a lot of bass players start out kind of just like everyone's already playing guitar, drums. So yeah, I said yeah, and I basically just played the root note. Like, that's all I did. I didn't play bass, properly. But Niall he was self-taught, and he was already quite a good little, he was a solid guitar player. And the other two lads in the band, the drummer and the other guitar player, Charlie McCowan, and the drummer, Ollie Graham, I think they'd had quite a lot of lessons for a few years, so they were like, he was a solid drummer. Charlie was quite proficient in terms like he wasn't just playing bar chords, you know what I mean? Like he was doing a lot more, and so that was when I was about 12, and then it like lasted about a year, maybe yeah, year, a couple of months. But like we played the Cavern a couple of times, which people don't know is where the Beatles started playing when they came back from Hamburg. So that was like a big deal for us. And we went to a studio and recorded like 3 or 4 original songs, which weren't very good, but it was an experience, you know what I mean, for like being that young. But yeah, we played quite a few gigs as well, because a lot of the older bands, because we were playing like Black Sabbath and the Misfits and stuff like that, and we were only like 12, so I think the older lads and like their girlfriends and that thought we were like cute, these little 5 foot nothings on stage. Yeah, so, but that lasted for a little while, but then I didn't touch an instrument again until I was like 19, 20. So yeah.
Mr. Smith has just asked, is Crash rehearsal room still open?
Crash for here, I don't know. This is the thing, like we practiced in Charlie's basement, so we never needed rehearsal rooms. And the only rehearsal room I ever went to, I know these other two lads. Well, actually, Niall, who was in the band with me, and then this lad I got to know a few years later, Billy, who's a great drummer. They practiced around somewhere in Seaforth, but I don't know what the rehearsal rooms were called. And I mean, it's probably long before my time, Smithy. Yeah.
Do you use the same process when you write and record your songs now?
Compared to when I was a kid, or
just in general, do you have is every song that you write in a similar process, or do you have a different starting point?
so well, it's strange because like I mean, well, talking about Smithy, like that song, "Stuck on All Caps." That was written. The verse and the chorus was written in like 15, 20 minutes, and it was like stream of consciousness. Like it just happened, you know. And but then there's other songs where it slowly builds up over time. You know, I may have a chorus, I may have like, you know, maybe like start of a verse. And when I first started writing, I would write the music completely separate, and then the lyrics completely separate. And now it's more like I like to write, I like to play a set of chords over and over again. It's almost like a mantra. And then I'll either have a melody or maybe like a phrase or one word, and I'll just sing it over and over and over and over again while I'm playing guitar. And it's like a feedback loop. And then more lyrics will come out of it, maybe more melody, maybe a chord change, you know. And yeah, it's changed, but I think it was more like putting like jigsaw puzzles together when I first started. So it kind of sounded a little bit. It sounded more disjointed. Like I don't think anyone here's like heard the first album I put out because it's terrible and I took it off the internet. But yeah, if you listen to that, you can tell. And but like that, the first album is basically like it's like a time capsule of me like learning to play drums, learning to sing, learning to songwrite, and learning to record, learning to mix. You know, so it lacks in a lot of areas, but you know, I think if you start to solidify how you write songs in a certain way, you'll see a lot of improvements. But on the other side, you want to kind of change it up a bit. So I
Yeah.
don't always just sit down with the acoustic guitar and do stuff. You know, sometimes I'll record something and listen to it back, or sometimes I'll be playing drums and I'll be singing along something. You know what I mean? I try change it up a little bit, but most of it comes down to just me and acoustic guitar, pretty much. Thanks, Smithy.
I'm to say. So, sorry, just looking at my questions. I'm trying to stick
It's
to the
alright.
questions.
Take your time, lad. Take your time.
What's been your biggest struggle in your songwriting?
That's a good question. You know, because I just write songs so easily. You know what I mean? Like,
they just fall out of me. I'm just walking down the street and that's it.
Yeah.
It's in there. Yeah.
yeah. I was walking down the street the other day, and the lad was like, "You dropped something there, mate," and it was a full song. You know what I mean? He didn't have to do anything about it. But
Have you seen that?
yeah. So I think the thing I've struggled with most is probably me singing and trying to find, like, because I can hear the melodies in my head, but it's getting it out and being able to flesh it out. I'd say that's probably the most difficult thing for me. But also just I think about 2 years ago I started being a lot more honest with myself about what I was doing, rather than just relying on like, oh well, music's subjective, like it's fine, like whatever I do is great, you know. Started actually being a little bit more critical, and that, I guess that was difficult, you know. Saying to listening back to what you've made, like giving yourself a whole like 6 months and being like, I don't like it, it's not good enough, you know what I mean. I think that was pretty difficult. But in terms of just technical issues, it's probably singing for sure, and getting the melodies out the way I could hear them in my head.
No, singing is tough. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely a tough one. Well, we'll have a listen to another one of your songs, and I can chat to you in the green room, and I'll get a couple of things sorted out. We'll have a listen to one of your songs, and then we'll pop back to the chat. Is there anything that you like? I mean, you're giving me sort of like a wee playlist here. We've got one called The Seventh Servant. What's that one about?
Oh, that's the one I sent in, and Trey asked me to work on it for me. And that's basically if anyone's ever read The Brothers Grimm, basically they came up with a lot of the what we now know as like classical fairy tales, which were a lot more nightmarish when they wrote them. And there's a short story called The Six Servants, and it's basically about this prince who's trying to impress a princess, and basically he wants a hand in marriage, and but the queen basically asks impossible tasks of everyone who tries to take a hand in marriage. So I wrote it from the perspective of like a seventh servant who basically asks impossible tasks of her, and that's where the lyrical idea came from.
Cool. That's a cool idea. Okay, we will hit
fun.
play and we will jump on to that screen.
Tell you a story. If I tell you a story of the greatest lie I ever told, would you believe me when I say I'm 1,000 years old? But I'm not sure of the greatest kingdom no one ever sold, and it could all be yours. Tell you a story. If you can love me like the cheapest whore I ever bought, if you can stay by my side and at the same time leave me alone. Tell you a story. Stay by my side, but leave me alone. Stay by my side, but leave me alone. Tell you a story. If I tell you a story of the greatest lie I ever told, would you believe a gallon of blood from a stone? Would you give me 10 sons 100 feet tall and one daughter every spring, summer and fall? Not at all. So give yourself to me, oh, and at the same time, not at all. Tell you a story. Stay by my side, but leave me alone. Stay by my side, but leave me alone. Stay by my side, but leave me alone. Tell you a story.
Yeah, very cool indeed. I like that one. I remember, yeah, Che was doing that was the one that he was trying to do the production on, eh?
What's the best form of escapism?
Escapism, getting the fuck away from adverts. That's where. That's
SoundCloud,
great.
yeah, I'm not a member of SoundCloud, so
Yeah, me either. Yeah, it's the one where I sent it in a couple of revisions of it, and then I think he was like frustrated with it not being the way, you know what I mean? He was like, it's almost there, kind of thing. And then he did like a one-off stream, because I think he was trying to get it out there, you know, that like he was gonna do this as like a service. So I think he used me as a little bit of a, you know, test animal, you know. Yeah.
So, how do you think that your songwriting process has developed over the last number of years? Even maybe not from when you started, but even just in the last 2, 3 years, what do you think has changed?
Um, I think I used to get obsessed with, there would be an idea, like whether it was a riff or a chord progression or just like a vibe, and I'd get so obsessed with that I'd forget about the song. You know what I mean? I'd forget about, okay, like it needs to change. It needs to change. There needs to be some modulation. You know, some chord change, something that carries the listener along. And I think understanding how that works and trying to do that the most I can, I think that's probably how it's changed. Um, because I was basically just doing like ambitious krautrock, you know what I mean, or just something to like drone out to, you know what I mean. It was like it was all vibe, no substance. And then also as well, just learning about like where my voice sits best, you know what I mean? Because I know I'm limited there, like so. You know, learning about okay, and not even it being a specific key, more about just like, you know, if I'm sitting down and playing it in a certain key, whatever the, you know, probably a handful of keys that are best for me. And I think instead of trying to work out like, well, what key is it and what's best for me, just kind of it being like a feeling in terms of like, you know, feeling like being able to open up properly, like not in an emotional way, like a physical way, like being able to
Mm-hmm.
sing properly. So I think that's been a big learning curve for me as well, for sure. Um, yeah, I'd say that's yeah, probably the biggest thing. Being more honest.
Do you follow Chris Leapy at all? Do you follow his
I've
channel?
seen a I've seen a couple of his videos on on Kurt, and he's done a couple on Jeff Buckley,
Yeah,
because I love
yeah.
Jeff Buckley. So yeah,
No,
yeah.
his channel's great. His course is excellent, and yeah, about
Have you
finding that.
taken it? Yeah,
Yeah, I got his course. I like most things, you get what you put into it,
yeah.
and it's been fantastic for me. But I really want to structure myself and do it properly, like go through the different stages and start. What I tend to do with a lot of courses is I'll watch them all first and then kind of pick and choose which bits I
Uh,
want to do.
Rather than going from A B C.
Yeah, but what he actually does with his course is that the usually the next part's not released until you're sort of 2 weeks through. So weeks 3 and 4 don't get open
That's good.
till. But I just waited until because they automatically open up. So I just ended up waiting. But it's a great course and it's definitely worth checking out. Along with a lot of his videos, even just watching them, you just are more conscious of maybe what your body's doing. From what you were saying, he talks about that a lot, is just being aware of how you're feeling when you're singing, not emotionally but physically, like if you're feeling the
Yeah.
tension there, or where if you're
Back
feeling the
off.
tension in your throat, or if it's, as he says, your put muscles, like for the compression and the where all the power comes from. So definitely
Yeah.
worth checking out. And what would you say are your, or who and what would you say are your main influences for your songwriting?
Um, I think anyone who cares about the song more than like how fast they can shred. You know what I mean? Like, cause basically I'm not against that. You know what I mean? I love Hendrix like everyone else. You know what I mean? I you know it, it always impresses me, and obviously, and it's you can access different musical emotions with that stuff. Um, but I started playing guitar because of Bob Dylan, basically. Like my dad gave me a Don't Look Back, which is a great documentary. Everyone should watch it if they haven't. and that thing skips all over the place if you try to watch it now. Because I watch it every night, watch all the performances back, and all I want to do is play acoustic guitar. Um, and so I'd say probably Dylan in terms of getting me to do it, and then um, people like Elliott Smith. Elliott Smith always really, because he's like a one man Beatle. Like he can do everything the Beatles do, but
Mm-hmm.
just himself in the studio, and he's a great songwriter as well. Um, yeah, there's a guy. He makes music under the title Sun Kill Moon. Um, and those albums he did under Sun Kill Moon were really big for me lyrically. Modest Mouse were big. The Smiths, like songwriters, Roy Orbison, you know, even like Bing Crosby. I love Bing
Mm-hmm.
Crosby. You know what I mean, especially at Christmas time.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, pretty much anyone who wants to save the song rather than show off what they can do. Even though I do appreciate that, I do appreciate virtuosos for sure.
It's always cool to see them, but I think certainly if you're a guitarist that's more into that than singing. I think a lot of guitarists, because they don't feel that they can sing or they've not got the
Yeah,
confidence to sing, they love the instrumental guitars because they're kind of thinking, well, that's something I might be able to do because I don't think I've got a strong enough voice, so I'll just
yeah,
get as good as I can on this instrument.
yeah. You're definitely right there. Because if you can't express yourself with your voice, you want to express yourself with your instrument. You know what I mean? And honestly, I did. Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Because like when I first started writing, it was like I wanted to come up with the coolest guitar stuff I could come up with because I knew I couldn't really get it out vocally yet. So yeah, I think that's a really good point for sure.
I mean, it's definitely one of the. I always said to people, I said, I'm not a good enough songwriter to be a bad singer, and I'm not a good enough singer to be a bad songwriter. So that was how I kind of looked at it. So I stuck to a lot of instrumental stuff, but I also didn't have the time. Well, not the time. I didn't have the patience to sit to get to the level of shredding that is required. And I've got a lot of respect for people who can do it because I know how much time and effort it is
Mm.
required to do that. I think now it's so many of them, it's very difficult to, like, 10, 15 years ago, you could stand out in that
Yeah,
instrumental guitar, but now there's just, like, everybody's just getting insane
yeah.
with what they're
Well, I mean, you
doing.
you look at like Tim Henson, people like
Yeah.
that. Like, I mean, that to me, that is what happens when somebody grows up learning everything on YouTube and really wants to be a virtuoso. You know what I mean? Because like I grew up learning the same way he did, but I didn't want to do that. But obviously he has the skill as well. But like because it's you see it all. You see all everything that has came before him. You see it
Mm.
all in his style. Even like the when I remember like 4 years ago, there was like this thing of everybody watching like guitar players who don't look crazy tapping in like
Mm-hmm.
open tunings and
Yeah.
all that stuff. You see all that in his playing and
Yeah.
everything. It's impressive. You know?
The, it is when you see it, and again, what I've definitely seen in that kind of instrumental style and genre and guitar, it is still the best that kind of become the sort of top because they not only are ridiculously talented and hardworking at learning and being able to develop their technical skills, but they also compose really interesting pieces that have like that do tell a story that do have a beginning, middle, and end, and they don't just like they repeat, but they don't repeat, and it's kind of cool. I I don't think I could listen to a whole album, but when one comes on, it's always kind of like, yeah, that's quite cool.
Yeah. Well, what they can do that other like like how many streams do you go in and you hear a guy playing some gent thing and then some weird like angular melody underneath it. It's like you're not developing the idea. Tim Henson can develop an idea. You know, my dad is a big Frank Zappa fan,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just never like hit me. But what Zappa can do is develop an idea. I mean, there's a few. I like the stuff he did with Captain Beefheart personally. Like in terms of if I was going to listen to Zappa, that would be what I'd listen
Mm-hmm.
to. But all those guys who are great virtuoso players, they can really tell a story, and the ones that start to lose me are the ones that are just they're a little bit too on the technically obsessed side, for sure. Because to me, Hendrix, that's why Hendrix, everyone loves Hendrix. Well, not everyone loves Hendrix, but that's why people who aren't virtuoso guitarists, or even people who aren't musicians, can love Hendrix because he cared about the song. Yeah, he wanted to be in the band of Gypsies and just jam and let his hair down. You know what I mean? But when he wanted to write a song, he could really tell a story, and he would use his guitar as a tool in a box of many to get that across, for sure.
I think this is the best comment ever. You're not ignorant at all. Hell, I didn't know what gent was until I kind of started watching Trey's streams. I'd heard the term, but I didn't, and I'm still not even sure what it is. I know that the band Periphery apparently are the ones that it was the noise that the guitar made on that low tuning
Yeah,
thing. I believe was the um they sort of discovered, and like any kind of style of music, there's some really cool stuff there, but sometimes, yeah, you'll get the leaders, the ones that start it, that develop it. Then you'll get the few that will take it to the next level, and then you'll get everybody else, kind of thing.
yeah,
And I mean, I know that you're a fan of UFC and MMA, and you see that with the fighters. You think about when the UFC first started, and obviously, like, I mean, you can't deny Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture were amazing, but compared to what was coming now, it's just leaps and bounds and levels and levels and levels. And again, it's kids growing up watching and following those people, and that's what's happening with guitar instrumental music. And I think to an extent, probably most styles of music, like there's always the ones that sort of, but they also, there's that marketing side that a lot of, I think, musicians lack, because they see it as a dirty word. They see marketing and selling yourself as a dirty thing to do because you're automatically a sellout, which I know when I was younger I kind of thought that way, but now I think to myself, well, if you like your stuff and you want people to hear it, then talk about it. Just don't be an egotistical wanker.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think you like that's the problem is finding that balancing. You know, you talk about UFC. A lot of people came to watch the UFC and mixed martial arts in general because of Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Now, Conor had that egotistical um, persona, but he also had a lot of skill to back it up.
Mm.
Now, where you want to say where his skill lies, all that stuff, how good is he, how good was he, all that stuff, is up for debate. But you get somebody like, and look, I'm from Liverpool, so I love the lads, Paddy Pimblett.
Mm-hmm.
He comes along and he's all attitude, and it seems like he's got a long way to go,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of skill. Now, in music, I don't really think you have that same problem, but you have people where it's like, they look at their favorite musician and they almost just like wear a skin suit of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like even down to the way they dress. And it's fine if you like that. If you like the look, go for it. But even with the music and everything, it's like it's just pure imitation. Like I've always wanted to try and do things at least a little bit differently, or be limited. Use my limitations to make something. Like if I go, oh, I like that song, I want to do something like it. I'll let my limitations kind of stand out like a sore thumb. So then that becomes my what I like to think of as originality for
Mm-hmm.
sure. So it's like it's finding the balance. And you're right, it happens with every genre. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's so good about living, or trying to make music today is you don't subcultures come and go so fast because of how fast the internet moves. You know, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, everyone was talking about like Mac DeMarco and this whole kind of like indie explosion again. And now, like, people don't really talk about him. I still listen to his albums. I think they're great, but it's not really. It used to be a generational thing. Now it's like it's just a micro genre, pops up, goes away, and so in a way it's good because you do get pretenders, but you don't get as many, and you don't get them kind of lingering around, especially in the mainstream, kind of blocking up the pipes for new talent that are trying to do something, something different for sure.
Mr. Smith asked, "Have you got cans that you can put on?" Apparently, I'm bouncing back maybe from your audio.
I didn't know your name was Andrea.
Well, depending on what day of
You
the
got
week it
something to
is.
tell us?
I'm not going to say anything that'll get me cancelled.
Yeah, we got to be careful. Is that? I'm sure that'll probably be better now.
Perfect. Um, and talking of obviously subgenres and what you were saying there, how is the community of songwriters and channels on YouTube and things help with your songwriting?
Um, I think Trey's community's probably at the most impact. But I think whether it's like fam, yourself, Audio Bros. Um, I have tried sending stuff into Bobby Everything, but yeah, it's a little bit late for me that. But especially with like how long you got to wait, and that's
Mm,
fine. It's great that he's that successful that people have to wait that long. But um, I think just having, because I think every it kind of goes back to what we were saying about the whole selling out thing. Like everyone has this thing of like, you hear a lot of artists say, "Oh, I only write it for myself. It's my music. I don't care if anyone likes it." When in reality, it's like, I was talking about Bob Dylan. The stories of Bob Dylan early on in his career, coming out after a show saying, "Is there anyone here to see me?" He wanted that affirmation. You know what I mean?
mhm,
So, um, I think having a place to send your music in to actually get some feedback instead of being
mhm,
in a complete vacuum is really big, and like that's why I'd encourage anyone to send stuff in because it's you can kind of get lost in what you're doing, and I think I've been guilty of that for sure. So I think that's been a big thing, just seeing people's reaction, and especially like if you think about it, a lot of these streams, there's only really a hand. There's three. There's yours, there's Audio Bros, and then there's Trey's, which actually has other stuff on than just like, you know, basically like hip hop. And there's nothing wrong with hip hop. I stopped playing music because I was obsessed with skateboarding,
mhm,
and like hanging out in a skate shop, I learned a lot about like 90s hip hop, and I love it to this day. Um, but because I think it lacks in the variety in terms of what underground artists are trying to do in it. You have people like Kendrick Lamar, people like that who are doing like really interesting stuff with it today. But if you look at the underground, it's kind of like metal. It's very samey, and I
mhm,
think um, a lot of those live streams have that problem, and that's why I like yours. I like Audio Bros. I like Trey's because I can actually. There's probably going to be some songs that I'm going to like, which
mhm,
aren't just by people I know, like
mhm.
yourself or like Mr. Smith. You know what I mean? So yeah,
No,
I think that's
I
yeah. Go on.
completely so I completely agree with what you're saying about the submissions that go in, and you realize it's like, okay, it's just not. metal and rock that all can sound the same. It's like other genres have that same sort of issue. And I love all these streams because I mean it's really where I get now most of my music listening from, whether it's more famous bands that I've heard through communities through Discord, things like that, or it's just listening back to the streams because a lot of the time they're done from America, so I'll not be up to watch them, but I'll put them on and just when I'm walking the dog, and it's great to hear everybody's, and it's great to hear improvements as well. It's great to sort of see people develop their sound, develop own their own unique sound while getting better at the technical side. I mean, an example of that I would say would be Alex from Trey's stream, who, I mean, I've been listening back to older stuff, and a lot of the stuff that he was sending in was kind of loop based and things, and then he started like developing and experimenting. But he always had, there was always that Alex Rooney sound. I could always tell it was an Alex Rooney composition. Like even if it was, there were certain things that he did that was like, oh, that's one of Alex's compositions, and I know that, and I think that it's cool to see that in that kind of style of soundtrack. And then obviously Sarushi does that kind of soundtrack, and him and Alex are working together on their ambient stuff, which is really cool. And the collaborations that I've developed across these communities are brilliant. I know that Mr. Smith was talking about that with Jade, about how he loves music and he loves just like the fact that he can work with people. And what he said, what I thought he said that was really interesting was about the fact that working with people online takes a lot of the ego out of it. It gives people the time to complete their own parts and things. You're not stuck in a room with people going, I want to play this bit over your bit, and this song's all about me kind of thing. And
Yeah,
I think that
sure.
that's where these communities have been really good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the same with when I've sent stuff to Mr. Smith myself. Um, the song that I've been working on recently, Become Blue. Um, you know, my I think my ego problem is I want to play everything, because that was something I always prided myself on, was like I play everything on this. Like that's something that I always was. I'm still proud of it, but and to kind of let that go and to see what Mr. Smith's gonna do with it. And I mean, even when I had Gender and Loathing mixed by Eric, it was even just like letting that go to have somebody mix all that stuff, was even that was a bit difficult at first, you know what I mean? Because I'm so used to just being like, maybe I'm just like a control freak, you know?
I don't think it's that. I think that if you've been songwriting or been a musician and like yourself, a multi-instrumentalist, multi-instrument musician, like you can obviously play several different things,
I'm
to
lucky.
to delegate to somebody else. Like for me, I can't play the drums, so to me, handing off the drums to somebody is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But I probably wouldn't hand off any guitar parts unless I'd written a song that I really wanted a massive shreddy solo. And the
Yeah.
good thing is, I now know through Trace community, there's a couple of people that I would probably hit up on that, because I know they would play something that would suit the song and also would sound fucking awesome.
Yeah. For
But
sure.
I'm kind of similar, like handing off stuff, even to an extent now, vocals, not because because I'm so desperate to get better at vocals, I don't want to give myself the excuse to let somebody else do it for me.
I see. Yeah.
That's kind of, I mean, I'd love other people to do harmonies and things, but again, that's maybe an ego part of me, or it's a determination that I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to how when I'm writing songs that they're starting to sound like they're in my head when they're sort of more complete.
Yeah,
And my voice is getting stronger, which is great, but it's still
definitely
got
is.
a
Yeah,
long way to go, and I'm fine with that. But that, I think, also comes with age, because I know 20 years ago I would have been like, this is all me. And it is nice to
yeah,
sort of say I wrote, recorded, mixed, master, I did everything. It's like, because
it is. Yeah,
it's impressive, but I think it's only impressive when it sounds good. Because I know from submissions I sent to Che, I was like, yeah, I mixed and and then I had seen his reaction and stuff. That I was like, all right, okay, yeah, I'm not very good at that. Shit.
yeah, for sure. I mean, but you're right. I think because songwriting is it's basically it's problem solving, and I think when you are honest with yourself, like, what am I good at, what am I not good at, you realize, like, the solutions to the problem, i.e. the song being at the best. It's like you got to understand, like, there's got to be some trade-offs there. You know what I mean? It's like there aren't really, like, I think this'll um be a bit heady, but Thomas Sowell said, there's no solutions, only trade-offs, something like that. And I think that's when it comes to collaborating with people, that's for sure. Because it's like, yeah, you can spend, like, you could do like 100 different demos of a song trying to get something right, trying to solve a problem. But if you can just send it to Smitty, who you know is going to do a good job on the drums, it's like, that's a trade off, but it's going to solve it. You know what I mean?
I
I
think
think that analogy works.
no, that's a perfect analogy, and I think ego is one of those essential things that you need it to put yourself out there, to have, I guess, like, not the confidence as such, but the sort of want to put yourself out there for people to hear your stuff, but not let it drive you so much that you don't want anybody to help, or if anybody does give you critical feedback, whether it's like good critical feedback, I should say, not just but shite,
Yeah,
but good critical feedback, not getting so upset by it that you don't progress and get better.
yeah,
And I think that obviously the regulars in Trey's stream know what you're going to get with Trey. If you're new, or you're maybe sitting there, you've sort of come in, you thought, what, like, because obviously the main thing is like, who are you to say that
it's
song's
a bit
crap?
jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, yeah, I admit when I first sort of watched Trey, I thought, oh, that's. I was like, oh, like, but again, you only get triggered if you think the same way.
yeah,
If you think that same, like, if somebody says something about my song, it's something that I already know that I don't like about the song. So
yeah,
when they point it out, it's like, I fucking know that, but don't point it out to
yeah.
me.
Yeah, you
And
get an emotional reaction
yeah,
because you know it yourself. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
So
Yeah,
and obviously it's lovely when people say nice things, and when I think you can tell when it's a genuinely nice comment and it's a genuine belief from the person, to when it's just they've not really got anything that, or anything that they want to say, they might not, so they don't say anything at all, or they're just like, yeah, great.
yeah,
which
yeah.
is often what
It's
happens when you play your songs to your friends.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I stopped sending stuff to friends. I mean, my mate Bill, who plays drums, I've sent him some stuff, and because he was saying that he listened to the first album, because like, I hadn't spoke to him and a couple of the other lads for like a few years, and they got back in touch during the pandemic, and they were like, "Oh, we listened to that album." I was like, "Oh, it's terrible. Listen to this." You know what I mean? It was like, this is way better. It was more like that. Um, but yeah, I think you're right about the advice. But also as well, I think this might just be me, but I've noticed in a lot of these streams, if somebody, if I know the person and they're putting out music and they're putting themselves out there, and they say something about my song, I'm like, I take it on board, because
Mm-hmm.
I know that they've gone through the same process.
Mm-hmm.
they know what they're doing when it comes to whether it's songwriting, playing guitar, singing, mixing, whatever it is. So I take it on board, and especially with Trey, I take it on board. And any of people who I know from the community, I take it on board. But there's been a lot I've seen recently of, I guess you would call them like backseat producers or something. You know what I mean? Because they sit there. Like I sent Become Blue into Trey,
Yeah.
and there was somebody, I don't know who it was, but they were going, you writing in the chat like, you need real cymbals. You should get a real drummer to play on this. And I'm going, I played this. Like I drummed on this. Like he's like, do you only have one crash cymbal? I was like, no, I have two. But when you're in an actual drum kit, you have to use it, in a certain way. You can't like, obviously depending on your skill level. But the reason you only hear that crashing that side for that long is because I'm doing something with the hi-hat and the snare. When I open up, I use the other crash with the, you know what I mean? Or use the ride cymbal, whatever. And I see a lot of that. So it's like I would say to people like, these streams are great, but don't take all the advice to heart and kind of learn to see what you could take advice. Somebody could tell you that wearing a tinfoil hat is going to keep you from getting your brain fried from whatever. That is technically advice, but it's not good advice, is it? Because of who it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, take notice of who is giving you the advice, is what I would say. And
No,
that goes for me as well. Don't just take my advice because I'm sitting here with guitars in the background. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's so true, and I notice it as well in the comments, and it's kind of like regurgitated stuff that they've heard somebody else say or seen somebody else say. I mean, I'll never really critique anybody's production. I don't really like critiquing their songwriting because I'm still very new to it, but I also have a lot of musical experience. I've got 26 years of guitar playing. I've got uh, 2.5 years of college study, and I've also got over 12 years of playing in bands. So I do have a fair bit of experience, but I also am very new to writing complete songs.
Yeah.
So if somebody submits something and I'm giving feedback, at the end of the day, all it is it's an opinion, and it's an
Yeah.
opinion of what that person feels that they would like, unless they are a music producer or like somebody who maybe knows the industry or things like that. And obviously that's why Trey says to people is like, go and find a producer and
Yeah.
find a producer of the genre of music that you're writing, contact them, find out how much they charge, and then go and do that. And
Oh
definitely
yeah.
one of the things that I've learned is, and I know I would have released a lot more of my songs a lot earlier, and a lot of the stuff that I send in as demos as actual releases on Spotify, if I'd not been sort of going, oh wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't, because all these people are sort of saying that's not ready for Spotify or like a
Yeah.
Bandcamp release or an actual release. And I think it's great that there's so many songs that are getting released, and I don't have anything against anybody who is releasing stuff that probably isn't ready to be released, because that's what they want to do. But
Mm.
hopefully that if they do submit something, there's been a few I think on the Audio Brothers podcast that have been, you wouldn't say that they were Spotify ready, and Eric and Charles have obviously said, look, this isn't ready to be out there. Now hopefully that person will go, okay, I'll maybe take that down, and then send in stuff, and then get it to a point where you could maybe send it to Eric and Charles, who clearly know what they're doing with genres of music and styles, to make your song stand out. And then it's the whole other side of things, is marketing it right, and um, doing all the evil side of things, that, or the side that people don't like to do, where you do kind of have to big yourself up. And a fine example of how good that can work for you, when you've got the songs to back it up, and I guess in a Conor McGregor kind of style of thing, is I would say Ren is like somebody who's done
Yeah.
that. He has always been very regular, like consistent on Instagram. He's very engaging. He will like. I mean, he replies to my messages and stuff like that. Now he's just had nearly over 3 million streams on his song Higher, and he's had reaction now from Justin Hawkins and
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Billy Bragg was saying that it was a great song, and I love that because I remember when I first heard Jenny's Tale, I was like, this, like, for me, I think he's one of the best lyricists of a generation. That's like, I think that this the variety of styles of songs he can write, and
Yeah.
his musical ability and his vocal ability, technical wise, is right up there. Probably was one of my favorite kind of musicians that, to me, I feel like can do anything. And I know, and it's seen other people in the industry and other musicians who recognize that. It was like, yeah, this guy's something else. You might not like his stuff. You might not like the kind of hip hop stuff or even his acoustic kind of stuff, but you can't deny he writes a damn good song. But he's
Yeah,
also
you can't.
built that up himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is hard to balance the two things, but like you said before, like if you put a lot of time into something and you want people to hear it, like there's no other way to go about it really. You've got to put yourself out there. Um, it's not how it used to be. You can't just send demos to labels and play live and hopefully build things up in that. You can in a certain sense, but you need to utilize. If you don't utilize social media, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. And I mean, talking lyrics with Ren, I'm not familiar with a lot of his stuff, but that not the latest one, the song before it.
Oh, the higher end with the when
Yeah.
he had the two parts, and he obviously went a bit meta.
Yeah, well, he did something that is like a filmmaking trick, which is breaking the third wall,
Yeah.
where he acknowledged, like, you know, people had already done that kind of. I mean, you go right back to like Biggie Smalls. He did it. Can't remember the track. I think it might be Who Shot You, and it's like he's using two voices and they're interacting with each other, and Ren basically he breaks the third wall like 3 times in like one verse. I was like, okay, yeah, that's skillful, and that they're the things you need to learn. You know what I mean? Because you hear a lot of lyrics and they're very, today I went to the shop and then I did it, and like, and it's, you can do that. You listen to Day in a Life by the Beatles. Woke up, got out of bed, dragged the comb across my head. Like, that's very descriptive, but it fits the song. So it's like, it's a tough one.
I mean, I love A Day in the Life, but again, with A Day in the Life, what works with that, I think it's a combination, because it is quite. I mean, I can name the chords, but they're interesting chords that are behind it. The melody itself is an interesting one. It's not like, it's got the ebb and flow, and then it's got that total random bit where the I woke up, got out of bed comes in, and it's such a jarring. I'm going to use the word juxtaposition. I don't know if that's right, but to the verses, to the verses. So yeah, and the Beatles are obviously amazing songwriters as well. And they had some terrible songs, but they had some, they had the majority of them. And again, there'll be songs that we will never hear the light of day. And I only started watching the documentary about it. I need to finish it because, again, it was really interesting seeing them all kind of working together and coming up with stuff that they did on 13 Floors in the Chat. But
13 floors.
It's 13 floors? Oh, no.
13 floors.
Bloody Aussies are here now. We're in trouble. Hello, Rook. Right, we'll have another listen to one of your songs, and then I'm going to I've got some quick fire questions, which are always fun.
Ooh,
so
keep me on my toes, Andrew.
Yeah, I know. I thought it'd be fun to do. So we'll have a listen to another one of your songs. We'll do some quick fire questions, and then we'll jump into some of the submissions, and we'll carry on to sort of chatting if that's all cool with everybody watching and yourself. Perfect. I will just bring up a song.
Better be.
Better be. What's going on with it?
By the way, are all those tracks I sent you available?
Well, they were. Let's just right. I don't know if it's just. I'll just do it this way. I'll just type in your name and find the stuff that you've got on. So, well, actually, you were talking about "Become Blue," so let's put that on because that is a really nice song, and I think when you were saying and talking about it, it's a nice one. We can have a wee chat about that as well. So,
Sure.
Well, oh, why is that not playing? I am following. Doesn't seem to. I don't know if it's not letting me because I'm not on Pro. That shouldn't be. Or maybe I've got to. Oh,
Is it a book?
yeah. Let me just play the
Is it a
advert.
book? Is it a
the
plane?
This
plane bus?
this chat is sponsored by me. If anybody wants their social media done, if they own an opticians or if they own a local business, contact me at Coffee Specs and Media for all your social media, photograph, video editing needs.
There we go.
There we go.
That's how you plug yourself
And that's how
without
you plug
shame.
it. Yeah.
I don't want to hear shameless plug anymore. No more shame.
No, that's a good point. No more shameless plugs. Right.
It should just be without shame. Just plug what you're doing.
It's that thing of not wanting to. You feel like you're upsetting the status quo by sort of standing out there, but you kind of got to. And generally, the people that are against it are people that are too scared to do it themselves. So
Yeah, and let's face it, that's the majority of people. So if you really want to be like, counterculture and punk, like tell those like old school punks to fuck off.
exactly. Right. Let's give this a go. It should work now.
Okie doke.
Come on. Say play.
There we go.
All the things you know is all you'll ever be, but all you do has become blue, unable to see silver and gold, yellow and green. Knowledge is key, all you ever need, all you know will float your boat home. The things you know is all you'll ever be, but all you do has become blue, unable to see silver and gold, yellow and green. Knowledge is key, all you ever need, all you know will lock up your home. Their plastic Holy Spirit, it fades away, it fades away. Plastic Holy Trinity, it fades away. All the things you know is all you'll ever be, but all you do has become blue, unable to see silver and gold, yellow Knowledge is key, all you ever need, all you know will lock up your home.
Excellent. So is that the you've had another mix at it?
Sorry, say again.
Sorry, have you had another? I think that said it was the third mix. I think the last one I heard was your second mix.
Yeah, mix number 3, final, blah blah. You know,
Yeah, underscore dash.
Final.
Final.
Yeah. Basically, so I mixed it like really quick, and then I sent it in for Eric and Charles to listen to on the Audio Bros podcast. And they was talking about the kick, and I was like, you know what, they're right, because I haven't really listened to it again since I mixed it, and it was, the kick just sounded over slappy, really hollow. So I decided to mix it again. And it was lacking a bit of low end as well. So, but you know, it's a demo as well, so it needs a lot of work anyway,
No,
especially vocally.
It's a great song though, and it's great to sort of see how songs develop, and again from feedback, from things that you might not consider, and that's the reason why we send them in. We like to see that we're at least kind of on the right path with people that we trust, and why we send them into places like Trey and Audio Brothers and things. And then if you've got a song that you're just kind of wanting to share and you're not wanting feedback, then you can still send it in and just say, look, I'm not really wanting feedback, and this is out there, just enjoy the song and hopefully you'll like it, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. You
Okay,
do a lot of stuff with that. Yeah.
Right, we'll do some quick fire questions, and then we'll listen to some song submissions, and we will finish off Mr. Smith with Gender and Loathing as a song as we fade out into the night. So get yourself ready, Millennial Animal.
I am ready.
First one that comes to your head: guitar or bass? You're not thinking.
Guitar.
Drums or vocals?
Drums.
Blues or prog?
Blues.
Acoustic or electric?
Acoustic.
Chorus or verse?
Chorus. Don't bore us.
Intro or bridge?
Bridge.
Rap or metal?
Metal.
Oh, and finally, this question was generated. I use an app called Captions, which obviously is good for subtitles and things, but it's also got an AI generator. And I asked it to give me a silly question to ask the songwriter, and this is the question that I came up with, which is: would you rather write a song about a hippopotamus or a graceful swan?
A graceful swan, because those things are vicious. It's great. It's there's a bit of juxtaposition there. It's graceful, but it'll take your finger off. Yeah.
It's an oxymoron, an oxymore swan. No, sorry. Yeah. No. That's it. Interview over. Perfect. Right. Let's get up some song submissions while doing that. I can relax a little bit now. Thank you very much, Millennial Animal, for answering the questions so fully. And it's when we talk about feedback, I obviously editing these down, I get to see all the things and filler words. Myself and Juicebox were talking about this. It was like talking about filler words.
Like.
So basically, you know
what I mean. Yeah, I can't really get rid of that because I'm Scouse. That's just how.
All right, mate. No, But the funny thing is, now I'm very conscious of it, and I'm trying to not do it because it says that you're better to pause and have a little bit of silence. Somebody that I noticed who's very good at not using filler words and uses silence as a as can't think of the fucking substitute. That's the word. Substitute for a filler word is Jocko Willink. He's like, if you listen to his, like, when he talks, he's very precise about what he says. There's little pauses,
Yeah.
and I really like that because I get overexcited and nervous, so I start rambling. Hence the hands go everywhere. But that's just, again, that's going to come with time, and the more of this I do, hopefully the better I get at it. And
yeah, you'll get better. I think you're right. But the thing about Jocko you got to remember is that guy is a tank and could kill like a room of people with his bare hands. So he doesn't have people interrupting him. And I think that we use filler words so we don't get interrupted because people hear silence and they want to jump and say what they want to say. And I don't think that happens with Jocko. You know what I mean?
it's like, oh
Jocko.
my god, this guy is scary. I liked what 13 Flaws says. Us Aussies just used fucking instead of nums. You fucking fucking fuck.
He's a guy. What is it? No. They use cunt, but they say something before it. That's like, what do they say?
Oh, he's a guy cunt. No.
Yeah, great or something like the. I can't remember what it is. I'm sure the Flaws will tell us.
I remember I used to work in a petrol station, and again, talking of the word cunt and how in Scotland and Australia, or in the UK and Australia, it's not deemed as offensive. It's almost like a bit of a compliment kind of thing.
It's a term of endearment.
I remember was working in the petrol station, and this guy came in. He was with his mates, and they bought their fuel and that, and he was just like, "Fucking hell, you're a big cunt, aren't you?" I was like, "Yes." It's miserable. Miserable cunt. I don't get monetized for YouTube anyway, so I can swear as much as I bloody want.
Once you get that monetization, though, we've got to pull back.
Urban's put cunt Dracula. On that's just reminded me of a little joke that I've seen on Facebook about somebody who says, "What's your favourite vampire?" And it's like the Count from Sesame Street, and it's like, he doesn't count. Oh, I sure he does.
Oh my god! I can't. That if somebody told me that was a meme on Facebook, I'd be like, yeah, it definitely came from Facebook. Definitely.
Okay, I'm going to bring up the Discord, and in fact, no, we're going to start off with the form submissions. The Google form submissions. I know I got a couple of them, so I'm going to find that.
Okie doke.
Oh, I need to scroll to the top. Google Forms.
Oh yeah, I just realised Eric put stars over the C words. Typical American.
Always been nice.
So what we got?
So I'm just I'm trying to still trying to get my head around these Google Forms. They're not very they're not particularly user friendly. So the first one,
most people just use Discord or a website.
Okay, so this one is from Amy Lee Forever, or Hell is now in the chat. So she said it's a 90s dance song, which I like. I did for a friend who's a DJ on a cruise ship, and she said regarding feedback, just sort of anything. And I will just copy and paste this link.
So do I listen on the stream?
I would listen on the stream because the quality is going to be crap through Ecamm. So
it's strange the way it does that.
I think it's just really keeping that quality, ideally going out to the people that are watching. They might develop it to be more like Zoom, so it will still keep. But I think Zoom's kind of similar with audio quality as well. There's obviously that compression. that comes
Yeah.
through, and Eric uses that program on his, which is quite cool. That I think makes it a little bit better for the people. Like you can listen to that, and it's better quality and everything. But we shall bring this up now. I do. Let me just check. So this is Addicted to You by Hell.
Sitting here by the phone, waiting really seems too long. Do you even care at all? At all, at all, at all? Feeling that I can't move on. I don't wanna sleep alone. Maybe I'm just not that strong. That strong. Addicted to your love. Addicted to your love. I'm your prisoner. To be next to you is all I need to do. 'Cause I'm addicted to your love. I'm your prisoner. To be next to you is all I need to do.
Excellent. Oh, yeah, we're back. just finishing up there. It's funny because obviously Millennial Animals listening on the stream, so there's a few seconds behind. And then you were like, "Oh, hiya."
I'm back.
You're back. I'm forgetting that you were
Sorry.
listening on the stream, so you're about 10 seconds behind.
Was that dancing?
Well, I was dancing and I went to flip onto my main screen, but what happened is because I've got your little widget that I'd created, which if I go into the main screen, you'll hear in a second. So I'd created that little widget and I had it there and it auto played and it interrupted with the song, but I was dancing. Hell, that was great.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, Sean. And
it really reminded me of a lot of stuff that I had in the car when I was a kid with my parents. It had that. It really had that vibe of like, you know, like late 90s, early 2000s. Like I get it, the piano kind of at the start reminded me a little bit like something that would be on like a Moby song. So that's from like the same period, I'm sure. And her voice, I think it really suits that kind of song, that kind of music.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of her other stuff, and I think she's got one of them voices where she can do whatever she wants with it. But it really fits really well. I think like if she were to do, I don't know if she wrote, if she said something about she did it for a DJ. I don't know if she just sang over the track that he made or something. But it was like really cool mix. When it first came in on that Prisoner line, like you can't help but not move to it. Like great stuff.
And had that great breakdown in the middle. And I know that Hell was saying that about the lyrics, but yeah, Mr. Smith has put it perfectly. A section from War and Peace is not really what you need when you're 3 disco biscuits and a few lines in.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most truthful statements I've ever heard.
Because that come on in a club, I would dance that, and that's exactly what you've done. You've created a great, well-produced dance track with great vocals for a 90s. Although I was a little bit hurt at the fact that it was 90s people that were old. I was like, 90s people aren't old.
People think old is like 25 now. It's like if you know, it's ridiculous. But yeah, no, I think to be honest, it still sounded pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Even though it was like stylistically, you know, you wouldn't really hear that anymore. It sounded really fresh. So she was self-conscious about the lyrics or about the lyrics not being deep. I don't know.
Yeah, not being there. I think she's put there. You sent me everything. She didn't write it, so you performed the vocals on it, which were really good. And yeah, it's a well produced track, and the breakdown. That's where I was doing the here we rock and go, because that's what you do. Yeah.
Small box, little box.
Yeah.
There we go.
Your Utah's 84. No, excellent track, Hell, and continue sending stuff in. I know you're definitely your worst critic, because everything that you've sent into Audio Brothers that I've heard is all being good. Everything, yeah, there's little bits that could be made a bit better, but there's nothing bad about the songs that you send in. They're all good. Yeah. But we definitely want you to keep writing new ones, because that's like, feedback is always kind of just like trying to write something new. And I worry about lyrics a lot. I'm the same. I want to write really poetic lyrics, and trying to get out of the habit of doing that bit too on the nose. And the song that I'm doing with you, Millennial Animal, I was laughing to myself. I was like, I wanted to try and make the song poetic, but it's very difficult to make a song talking about shitting yourself poetic. So it is quite on the nose, but it's
yeah, well, that's a specific kind of song. Yeah. You know what I mean? By the way, is my camera going all
seems
Okay,
to be,
no, it's fine.
it seems to be okay. So
Okay.
let's bring up the next. Here we go. We'll go to the Google Forms and we'll go to the next one, which I think that was So
I
this
think
what? Oh, sorry. On you go.
I was just gonna say with lyrics. I think if anyone's having trouble with lyrics, I think there's a balancing act between being descriptive enough and being vague enough so that you can give somebody something to hang on to in terms of lyrical material, but then also vague enough so they can put their own experience and life into it. I think that's the balancing act you need to do. Basically, your lyrics need to be like a colouring book, like the framework's there that the person listening needs to just colour it in. I think that's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, that's a nice way of describing it. Oh, have I just? Silly me. Sorry, I just need to try and Command V to get to the right bit. Right, pause. Don't you autoplay on me. I do have one where it's got that we're. That's muted us now. Where we can hopefully see the screen, but I need to change that to a screen share. So if I do that, I can just do this, and then people can see us dancing. And
there we go.
I forgot I had the screen share on, and I noticed Eric had said that our voices were a little bit quiet, so I was just upping the compression, and I was like, wait a minute, that's so
showing everyone the DAW.
Yeah, and you're about to see it again, so I'm just going to go back to our screen while I read out what Dom has said and who this is from. I keep losing everything. I need more screens. One's just not enough. So this is from Dom Tolegorosa. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Dom. He has said, I heard about your show from Mr. Smith. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Here's my latest song called What Went Wrong. It's just recapping the world we live in, a simple rock song with 4-chord progression. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. And regarding feedback, he says that he'll be glad to listen to any and all feedback. The song is already complete, so there's nothing specific, but all feedback is great for future recording, and that's exactly what we want from feedback and why it's very useful. So let's bring up this one, and we'll hit play, and let's go.
Hey, what went wrong with the world tonight?
Cool. I was just checking that autoplay wasn't on. Hello.
Sorry about that. I was listening to it on the stream.
Well, thank you, Dom, for sending that in. It's
Yeah.
really appreciated. It's great when people send stuff in, and it's nice to see the community building, growing, not building. Mr. Smith says something here. Dom is a great part of a few communities on YouTube and does some great stuff. He is good with just an acoustic. I really like that song. It had just a nice kind of chill vibe to it. The chorus, it had a nice hook going throughout it, and that stuck with me. My only criticism, I guess, would be that the vibe was nice, but it felt a little slow. It felt like it could have just been a little faster. But that's really my only kind of critique that I could sort of think. But that's just a taste thing.
Yeah, I think I pretty much say more of the same. I think you can have like the Smiths' girlfriend in a coma is a good example. You can have lyrical content that is very different compared to the actual feel of the track. But also as well, I mean, some of the lyrics about being tired, not wanting to fight, it did have that kind of feel to it. Kind of just that kind of I'm ready for bed kind of. I don't want to deal with anything kind of vibe to it. The music was, I think the music was, the track itself, like musically, I wouldn't really change anything. Maybe some like more changes here and there. Maybe speed it up a little bit. But the only thing I'd say, if you were gonna work on it more, maybe just work on the lyrics a little bit. Try not be as on the nose, maybe like me and Andrew was talking about, which is a difficult thing. And if you like the lyrics the way they are, keep them. But if there was something you were going to work on, I think it'd be the lyrics. And to be honest, it might have just been the music video that kind of put me in that headspace, because there was like the kids standing there with the sign of like, save the planet. Maybe it was just the music video that was a bit on the nose, and then that was translating to me for the lyrics. But other than that, it was a good little toe tapper for sure.
Yeah. Then Mr. Smith said it needs a bit of production, and that's like anything. And Mr. Smith is definitely somebody that knows about production, and so do yourself. And it's certainly one of those things that can.
It's a difficult thing.
Yeah,
to deal with.
Because there's so many little elements that you can add or take away, and I think there was somebody on Trey's stream said it, or it was a quote from somebody, which was a fantastic one. It was like, it's when perfection isn't what you can add, but when you've got nothing to take away, or something like that. To get to perfection, it's like once you've taken everything away, stripped it all back, and yeah.
When the bare bones of it is there and it's still a good song, that's when you can build on it for sure. Yeah. So keep. I'm sure you're still making music, and keep sending it in. I'm sure Andrew would like to hear more from you.
Definitely, it's great. And again, apologies if I pronounced your name wrong. I should have just gone full on New Jersey and gone Dom Terragrossa. That's not even. I don't know what that accent was. That's terrible. We'll leave the accents to Trey. Okay, so we have another one from the Google form, and this is from Omnicollective Creativity. So this song is about a fictional character named Matthew Hudson, who wants to make amends with his dad to end his daddy issues after the family banshee, Matthew's only friend, was put to sleep for 3 years. Was put to sleep for nearly 3 years. It's like mixing feedback, particularly with the vocals, and how to balance them with the instrumentation. Okay, so I won't be able to really give you much on that, but the chat like Eric and Mr. Smith, Millennial Animal, and Big Kid, and everybody in the chat, they'll be able to sort of help you a bit more with that than I can. So I'll just sit back and enjoy it. If the mixing feedback is what you are looking for. This is not the feedback you are looking for. It's amazing how much nonsense you chat when you're trying to add like songs to things
all the time.
I'll just give myself a little comment. Hey, stop playing you. I'll just give myself a little commentary as I do this. I'm just going to put in YouTube and I'm going to type in the words, and then here we go. So this is Hudson verse 3, Making Amends.
I once recalled a time when life was carefree. Now I'm appalled, and you have taken her from me. I sing that you said try to gather everything to be a sensible man and make amends. Do you understand the world that I have left far behind me when you committed theft? To make it all good, make amends. I want you to mend unbroken ends. Making amends. Now we are made amends.
All right. So apparently that was coming through in mono. So we're going to try something different.
The song.
Yeah, well, Mr. Smith was saying that it was we're in mono. I didn't hear it in mono, but
I think he means like when we talk.
oh,
oh no, he's actually saying the song.
Yeah, so that came through as mono.
I thought it was stereo.
Yeah,
that's strange.
That is strange. I mean, I can bring it up a different way, and we can listen and see if it's just something maybe with the eCam.
Well, I was listening on the stream.
Yeah, and it was coming through.
It seemed to anyway.
No, the music is.
Oh no, he's saying the yeah. That's what I thought, Mr. Smith. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is. I will give me 2 minutes while I sort this out, and I will. I know what I'll do. Right, this is just going to take a little bit of. Shush. This will take a little bit of playing about, but I will get that. Pause that. Do you know, gotta love #ProStreamer. #ProStreamer.
Well, I think
you talk about it just while I'm sorting this out, and we can.
Yeah, sure. So, some of this stuff that was going on with the synths were really pretty. Especially, I think it was very avant-garde. So I'm not going to be able to talk about it in terms of like chorus or verse or anything like that. Which is very, anyone who approaches music from a different direction, I've always got appreciation for. So, I'm not saying that as a dig or anything. But I think in the second half, some of the synths that came in, like the arpeggiator or whatever it was very pretty, and I did like it. But I think with your vocals, it seems like you're so in the headspace of trying to make it sound avant-garde, and that I think you're forgetting about what else is going on around you. Maybe, I don't know, because there was certain parts where I was like, okay, well that's in key, like that sounds really cool, it's interesting, and then there were other parts where it just was completely off, and it sounded like there was 2 or 3 different songs going on. So I don't know if that's just a stylistic thing you're going for, or it's a issue of you not listening to what's going on around you when you record the vocals. I don't know. And I don't see you in the chat right now saying anything, unless that's just me. But yeah, I think avant-garde music, there's a place for it. I listen to some really fucked up stuff, but I think when it's done well, it's not just avant-garde for the sake of being avant-garde, if that makes sense. That's all I've pretty much got to say about it. As for the mix, I don't know if it was coming through mono and we weren't hearing it properly then.
I'm going to try a slightly different way you got. Oh, I just remembered I've got to. I'm trying to click it on this, and then realise it, and it's on my iPad. So hopefully this will. No, I just want to go to it. There we go. Right. Hopefully this will come through. Oh,
that was Omni Collective, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. We'll try this again. Would it be better to build a song around song melodies rather than the reverse? Would work better with melodic contours for me.
I don't really think it matters which way you start. It just matters that you're aware of what's going on. There was some synth lines that were going on, and it seemed like you were going to follow it with your voice, but it wasn't lining up. Not just rhythmically, but in terms of like the key of the song. But then there were other parts where you were clearly in key, and it sounded cool. I,
We'll
yeah.
we'll have another listen, because like Mr. Smith and that were hearing it in mono, so it could be what Big Kid said. It could be maybe the bandwidth, but we'll try it through the iPad because we'll see if that works. So I'm just gonna hit play and hopefully it will come through in stereo.
I once recalled a time when life was carefree. Now I'm appalled, and you have taken her from me. I sing, said try to gather everything to be a sensible man and make amends. To understand the world that I have left far behind me when you committed theft. To make it all go right. In the darkness, the master shall tread to seek the divine and vibrationally align with the truth. Elusive and benign. Softly I sing that you should try to gather everything to be a sensible man to make amends. Make amends. I want to mend unbroken ends. Ooh, making amends. Now we are made amends.
Cool. So obviously, second time round listening. So it looks like it was me, but when he came back to the mixing days, I thought it was coming from YouTube, and that's fine. Anyway, that sounded like it was in stereo. So I know that Big Kid and Mr. Smith got a chance to have a listen. So they can sort of give their feedback. I mean, I guess my production feedback would be I'd like to hear a little bit of maybe some reverb and delay on the vocals, which I think would maybe bring them into the mix more, because they seem quite dry, so that's why they seem so upfront in the level. So some effects in the vocals I think would add to the track in itself as a whole, because it's quite a unusual track. Urban said like avant-garde Radiohead, which I thought was a really good description, because there was some moments in there where his vocals were reminiscent of some Tom York stuff, and I know that Tom York I think uses a lot of effects and delays and stuff, especially in that kind of thing. I've muted. Oh no, I haven't muted. He's muted himself. So that would be my only thing. I mean, I couldn't tell you how to do that. I just know you could like it might add, and then maybe bring the volume of them down a touch to blend them in more. But that would be mine.
I think I just think that with this, see, this is the thing. Like Kid A is avant-garde. It was at the time. Like people hadn't done things like that, and it was a huge departure from Radiohead's what they were doing. But their songs had structure and they had a direction, and I think, I'll be honest, I think it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's just my personal bias, but it just didn't have any structure. But then when there was something for me to grab hold of, it was really cool. Especially and even at the end with your vocal style, and what was going on melodically behind it, it reminded me of Usually Just a T-Shirt, the album by John Frusciante. It was like this really fucked up, like, just singing with with no care in the world. So I think maybe listen to that album, maybe listen to a bit of Kid A, and try like just take that idea or some of those ideas and add a bit more structure, and you'll be able to use it, because there's no contrast between like the weird fucked up nature of it and the there's no contrast. It's just all one. It's all one fucked up place.
Is that better? Enslaved Angel now he's on the left hand side of the screen. He appears to be right on my screen but coming through my left ear, so I've just shifted you over to the left. So it feels like you're on the left hand side. Yeah, I completely agree with what you said there.
But I just want to say to the person, like, don't like keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just pull back a little bit, like you're doing something really interesting. It's just, yeah, it just needs a lot of work.
The Mr. Smith said on a sort of mixing production kind of point of view, excessive 12 and 16k, needs to DS at 5k on the vocals too. So yeah, do that.
Yeah. If he says it, do it.
if Mr. Smith says do it. But I completely agree with Millennial Animal. Like, keep doing what you're doing. It's really cool. It's very different. There's parts that worked really well. The parts that made a bit more gelling, and yeah, it's definitely a style of music where production is definitely at the forefront of the song, because it's kind of creating this vibe and this soundscape along with the song in there. So dialing that in is going to be now Urban saying, but now I think Millennial Animal is the host and Andrew's guest.
I am. This is a takeover.
So thank you very much for sending that in, and keep sending stuff in on the collective creativity. It's much appreciated. So that was the last from the Google Forms. So now we've got some stuff from the Discord. So we'll bring up the Discord. Thankfully I have Discord on the old iPad. So we've got a couple. We've got a few. Cool. Right. So first up, we've got Daniel, Shadow of the Throne, Rise, and this is a second mix on this one. And as I mentioned earlier, Daniel and Chris are going to be on the show in a couple of weeks' time because they have their second single coming out. Single coming out. So their single comes out on the 10th of February, but they will be doing the show on the 4th of February. So we may get a little preview. I don't know, a little sneaky peek. And we can check that out and have a chat with them about their journey as a collaborative partnership and also as solo artists as well, because I know that Chris has got his own projects. And
I look forward to that one.
Yeah, that'll be a cool one. It's nice to chat to the songwriters. It's not often that you get to do that and get to find out the process and what they do. So this is Rise Mix version 2 _ not final, but maybe. Yeah. Got a good hook in there, Daniel. And that chorus is cool. Millennial Animal will join us in a second. That that was I like the hook. I mean, I can't really give you any advice on production or anything like that. I don't even know if you were looking for feedback. It's a cool song. It felt a little long, but that's my short attention span. I really did like the chorus, the hook. It was really cool. I almost, I mean, I'm probably just regurgitating stuff that I think Trey would say, but I kind of wanted. It would be almost quite cool if there was like a short section where it was just like of the chorus, especially the double chorus at the end, to drop out and have the screamed vocals on their own, and then come back in with a big bass kind of, because the chorus hits hard, but because the whole track is so brutal all the way through, it definitely feels like it needs a little bit more dynamics in it. And I'm a big fan of a cappella vocals and a cappella screams. I think they really hit hard in songs when you've got that, and you've got that performance that Chris has given, like coming right through and with nothing else around it, just those vocals, I think is really cool. But that's my personal opinion. But overall, it's a fucking cool track. The mix sounded good to me. I couldn't really fault anything. Everything sounded in its place, but that's just my dummy ears. So speak to people who know what they're talking about that. Sean, what do you think?
They say, I think they're saying I'm echoing.
Shouldn't be, unless maybe if I
We have phones on, so
it just we'll carry on and hopefully we'll not.
okay. Well,
It could be the bit rate.
could be the bit right. Okay. I mean, everything he sends in is, is top notch. I mean, I'm not the biggest metal guy, but the hook is really hooky. I think people were saying comparisons to Korn, especially at the beginning, with that vocal style, which I thought was really cool. Oh, sorry, I was just reading the chat. I think there was some bits where lyrically it might have been a little bit busy, but other than that, like, and maybe the length of it. But see, things about like length of track and stuff like that, if you've got so much going on, I think you can get away with that. And I think there's so many layers in the track, and there's so many things going on dynamically. I think you can get away with it there. And I think that would come down to your own personal, like, what you want for the song. But other than maybe a little bit busy with the lyrics of parts, I think it was like before the last hook out, it got a little bit busy lyrically. But other than that, and mixing, when it comes to mixing metal, I don't even ask me. But I think it sounded great, and I'm always impressed with what Daniel puts out. And I think his vocalist is top notch, especially doing all that. Is there was a lot of different vocal styles in there. I think it was really cool.
Yeah.
And brutal, like, just brutal. Like, it just gave me riff face. Like, I couldn't help it.
I see Mr. Smith said something. The only thing I would look at mix-wise is mid-presence from the bass. That's what he said. And I know that Daniel said that he retracked the bass and he's going to maybe look at the distortion and stuff like that. But yeah, another great song, Daniel.
I'd want to listen to it on my speakers if I wanted, like, to listen to the mix properly as well. So yeah.
Cool. Right. So next up, we've got one from Big Kid. Big Kid. So Big Kid. So what's this about? Tell us in the chat. I've got Head Full of Hate. Oh, it's featuring your Voice of an Angel dude. You're got that fucking awesome 80s wah stuff going on. We'll play it. I'll keep an eye on the chat, and if there's anything,
see what he says,
that's probably a better idea rather than waiting.
Okay, I'll turn that.
There's only left and right to you. There's no in between. Narrow-minded tunnel vision. It's so fucking obscene. You got a head full of fate and a heart full of darkness. You can only see in black and white. All you do is shout out other people. Take a look in the mirror. I'm sure you love what you see. You ain't falling man. You got a head full of hate and a heart full of poison. Acting like you don't know wrong from right. If I were you, would hang my head to the sand. You don't deserve to breathe the air that I breathe. Swallow your bullshit over and over again. I think it's time you fucking You got a head full of hate and a heart full of corpses. Don't drag me down, down with you. You don't care about consequences. You do whatever you feel. Once convicted for your sins, there'll be no repeat. You got a head full of hate and a heart full of darkness. You can only see in black and white. You got a soul full of poison and a heart full of anger. Now's the time to make things right.
I'm just having a little read of the chat. That was a cool track. That guy's voice is just wow. It's just cool as fuck. Such a great voice. I really like that. Track flowed really well for me. Nice dynamics. I really like the solo in it. To me, sounded all good. There's not really much I can sort of give. That guy's voice is cool. The melody was quite good. Again, sometimes vocally felt a little slow. But the guy's voice is so cool. I mean, again, this is just nitpicking for the sake of feeling like I should give something more than, "Aye, that was good."
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to critique when you get so nitpicky. I mean, talk about nitpicky. The only thing that kind of stuck out to me was the line at the end about consequences. There's certain words that I just don't think land right. I think if you try to fit in of no consequence or something like that, um, that was the only thing that stuck out to me. Other than that, I mean, I thought it was what really, when he's in his low range, it started reminding me a little bit of Buzz Osborne from the Melvins for some reason. I don't know why, but it did. But yeah, and the only other thing would be those cool little like lo-fi drum kind of sections. Try use that a little bit more, maybe. I don't know, add a tiny little bit more dynamics. But other than that, I mean, it's for that style, it's great. You know what I mean? I can't fault it. The only other thing would a little bit more cymbal and a little bit more guitar in terms of like sitting in the mix. That would be the only thing. But that just could be me because I like cymbals and guitars.
Yeah, the boy's voice. I always mean to ask, Big Kid, so does the vocalist, does he write all the lyrics and the melody? Do you just give him the track, or has it been a bit that you have written lyrics for him and then just told him to come up with the melody? I'll bring up the next song while you answer that in the chat.
How many songs have we got? Because I'm going to have to bounce it about between 2:45 and 10:45.
We have 1, 2, 3 songs left. I've just seen this picture from Juice Box One.
Is that your lady, Juice Box? I mean, she's got the shirt on, so.
So Big Kid said that he wrote everything on all tunes. Cool. It's good to know that. No, it's awesome.
Impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive. Really impressive.
So next up we've got some Enslaved Angel, which I need to send you the track that I did with him, Millennial, and I'll send you the link so you can have a listen to my Fred Durst.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that.
So this is The Sound of Vanity. I think this is the second one off the album that he released. So we heard one last week. So this is the other track that he sent in. So
the dystopian concept.
Enslaved Angel. It's terrible. I'd forgotten to subscribe to you. No thumbs up. Shocking.
He only just followed me on SoundCloud, so don't feel too bad about
That's
it.
true. Yeah. That's what it says on the tin. Yeah, Enslaved Angel. I've already sort of said that. Like, I mean, your music's not something that I sort of know a lot about, or like choose to listen to, but I like the soundscapes that you create. That one was actually probably the grooviest one I've heard from you, from stuff that you've sent in and stuff that I've listened to. It definitely felt like it had a groove to it, and it was a little. I got a bit of a bop going on that, which I liked. I definitely liked that kind of feel to it, and obviously the vocals are brutal. The whole sound, it's like it's that kind of crazy vibe, but it's not something that I would play to my 10-year-old niece. Might scare her. Oh,
I think. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I had this on mute. And
It's okay, don't worry. I get annoyed with myself too. I grew up with a couple of lads who were really into black metal, so I heard a lot of it growing up, and it definitely hit all the spots. I don't know if that's exactly what you were going for. Mr. Smith was saying about the vocal being buried, but I think it works for that type of song. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of just, it sounds like something's in a forest and you don't want to, you can kind of hear it, but you don't want to see it. You know what I mean? Like something scary you don't want to see, you can kind of hear it. The only thing I would, kick drum maybe. I know the kick drum, especially with the double bass, is a big part of this type of music. Maybe like bring that down a touch. I don't know if you're gonna be doing other revisions of this. And then when the kind of punk beat came in, I think maybe try something different with the kick. There was something weird happening with the time in there. I don't know what it was, but yeah. Other than that, I think stylistically you hit it out the park. Just those two things really. Turn down the kick a little bit, and yeah, when that punk beat comes in, just go back and have a little listen, because there was something weird happening with the timing. I don't know. I'd have to listen to it again, for sure.
oh, very cool, very cool. I'm aware of Millennial Animals time, so we'll get on. So we've got two more songs. We've got Jules the Bard, Juicebox Desmond, and then we will play ourselves out with Millennial Animal, and that will be awesome. So next up we have, oh god, Physianthropist, is that how you pronounce that? That's how I'm going with, A Catatonic Night.
Yeah.
So we'll start playing this. Jules Bard, if you want to put in the comments if you want any feedback on it or what the song's about, that's always really cool. Here we go.
tell me I'll not be forgotten.
That was cool. I don't know, like, yeah, I really dug that. I like love the gallop beat, just the and that kind of almost, I guess you could almost say power metal, but it didn't. It had a power metal vibe to it. The only thing that took me by surprise, and not a bad thing, it was a little jarring, was the transition into the quiet bit towards the end. That kind of was like, oh, but I mean, it didn't sound completely out of place. It just took me by surprise, which is kind of what you want, I guess, for the listener. But that, yeah, it was fucking awesome. Your vocals were great production. You are a bit of a dark horse because you were fantastic on the charity stream performing all these songs, and we were like, oh, like, because we not heard a huge. Seen you, I'd always seen you sort of in the chat, and I think you'd maybe submitted a couple of things to Trey, but not a huge amount. And then it was like all this kind of stuff was coming from you, and this is really cool. I really dug this. I loved the rhythm of the drums, great vocals, great vocal performances. My only little critique for me personally was just that transition into the quieter bit towards the end just kind of was a little bit jarring. I don't know, moving into that, if there was a way to smooth that out, but that's just it.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, I don't like. Yeah, you could transitions like that, because I like doing that with. I've been doing that a lot lately, like having a middle eight or a bridge, whatever you want to call it. That jars you out of the structure of the rest of the song. But that whole piece with the piano and everything was really pretty. It was really cool contrast, whether you want to change the transition into it or not. It was really pretty. And then, I mean, just vocals are on point, so good. Like I noticed when we did the charity stream, and I think he was just using his phone, like he didn't have a microphone or anything, and his voice was great. I think he's probably got one of my favorite voices I've heard in this community, and the riffs, so groovy, so heavy. It was like hands up. Too good.
Absolutely cool, because the riff just before the quiet bit was fucking awesome, and I was really enjoying the riff, and then it did go into that really nice piano bit, and it was a bit kind of like, whoa, that was a surprise. But like, that's the only thing I could sort of feel like I could say that's a critique, because everything else is just fucking awesome. It was really cool. Thanks for that, Jules. And I haven't forgotten about your performances from the charity stream. They will be getting edited and put up as videos. I'm just getting round to them.
He's got a lot on. He's a busy lad.
I'm constantly trying to make money. There we go. I'll just leave it there.
Does anyone else want to buy a 1 ton project shirt?
I really want a
yeah.
1 ton project shirt. It's like, do you know where you can get the merch?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I loved what Juice Box said in the comments. It's like my wife has a fine set of boobs too, anyway. Okay,
I'd say prove it, but that'd be a bit cheeky.
So this is called John the Clown. I need to remember and talking to my microphone. 1 ton project from the album In the Gizzards and Hearts, and this was an ode to a wife. I kind of know it's going to be awesome because it's 1 ton project. So
Always good.
Waiting for
that sound effect is really for everybody's songs, but 1 Ton Project, bringing the fucking fire. It's like a little combination of all my favourite bands. It's like some early Incubus in there. There's Blind Melon vibes I get from it. There's this kind of fucking cool funk stuff. There's a little bit of kind of spiciness going on. And I mean, obviously, getting to talk to Juicebox and Joe last week, realizing when you get a collaborative effort of super great musicians and songwriters all working together and getting out of each other's way, you produce music like that. I think Juicebox said that he felt that the bridge section went into a little bit of a wank fest. I like a good wank fest, you know. It's when it's done well, and and that to me was done well. I can't really fault it. Yeah. Every time I hear a 1 Ton Project song, I'm just happy, a little smile on my face.
Yeah, same. I always enjoy it. I mean, I think I agree with Juice. Like, if you were to, and I know you've said what you said, it's released, and the ship's kind of sailed on it. But if you were ever to go back and rework this or something, I think most songs could always use a bit of, trimming the fat, unless you're getting really straight to the point. But it's brilliant. Harmonies, guitar sound, and everything. And I always mean to ask Juicebox, like, I don't know if it's you or was it Joe, the lad who was on your show?
Joe and Juicebox, yeah.
Yeah, they're the two guitar players, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think they both do backing vocals and
vocals.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I was always wondering if it was Juicebox or Joe. If you are fans of a band called Pinback, because there's something about the guitar playing that always reminds me of Pinback. They're a lot more busy and like kind of like math rocky kind of Midwest thing going on. But there's something that I always hear a bit of Pinback in your songs, and like they're one of my favorite bands ever. I wonder if that's just coincidence, but I always hear it. But yeah, just fucking brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
so good.
And again, so there's so many layers in a 1 Ton Project song, and they're so complement very complimentary of each other.
Complimentary.
You can like each little bit kind of has its little space. Like in the left side, I was getting that cool kind of like funk riff, and then and then there was a little kind of harmony guitar part coming in the right, just with a little lick, and I was just
Yeah.
Oh, see,
That's what I'm saying. Those little lyrics. Yeah. I mean, little licks.
yeah. Oh, they've got 3 guitars. Travis plays a lot of the solos. Never heard Pinback, but you should go and check that out. So yeah, there's everything. All right. Well, that was the last audience submission for this week. We are going to play out with Millennial Animals, Gender and Loathing. But first of all, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Millennial Animal for joining me tonight. I know that he's not been well, so I appreciate that you came on. And we'll definitely get you back on again. Hopefully, once I get better at this, we'll get more and we'll get performances and everything like that. But right now, it's been fantastic chatting to you, finding out a little bit more, and you'll definitely be back on. So
yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me on as well. Yeah, really, I had a good time. I had a good time listening to all the
just reading the comments.
tunes.
Yeah. Excuse me, waiter. There's a fly in my wank fest.
That's a drink I've never tried.
The one thing I was going to say is the 1 Ton Project, this thumbnail that you've got here. I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get Trey's head with Sandy's hat on, and I'm going to stick it on top, and I'm going to send it to him and say that's what his next thumbnail should be for Friday feedback. And say this is why you should wear band t-shirts. So I'm going to get Sandy's head on that, because it's like buzz bitches.
Videos are allowed if there's tits.
So let's just bring up your track. I'm going to just do it this way. can entertain the chat while I do this.
Yeah, goodbye everybody. And yeah, nice. I didn't see you, Megan, but you got to see me, so I guess one of us is going home happy. Yeah, thanks for everyone turning up. It was nice seeing everybody.
Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching, and I'll be back next week, hopefully with my friend Charlie, who releases her own stuff under her band name Euphoria. You've heard a couple of her tracks I've played, so she's going to be joining me. Hopefully, I'm not quite sure if it's going to be Saturday, Sunday or Monday. I'll keep you updated. Highlight show and the interview will go up later this week once I've done a little bit of editing. Obviously, if you want to submit your songs, link in the description. I'll put links and things like that. Google Forms and Discord are your ways. Like, share, subscribe, all the usual stuff. And we'll see you all next week. And we will play out with Gender and Loathing, mixed by Eric Simey, performed by Millennial Animal.
Black mirror with some alcohol, letting out the meal like an animal between her thighs, where the lines lie between gender and moving. That's love. Play your role. Gender and moving through it all. For love you fall. Gender and loving. What's love? Don't know. She want a black mirror with some alcohol, then an alpha male like an animal between her thighs, where the lines lie between gender and moving. That's love. Play your role. Gender and moving through it all. For love you fall. Gender and loving, what's love? I don't know. Oh, you can't deny what you asked for. You can't deny what you fought for. All she needs is a black mirror and an alpha male like an animal between her thighs. Where the lines lie between gender and loving. That's love. Play your role. Gender and moving through it all. For love we fall. Gender and longing for love. No one knows. She want a black mirror with some alcohol, then an alpha male like an animal between her thighs, where the lines lie between gender and loathing. Gender and loathing through it all. Gender and loathing. Gender and loathing through it all. Gender